Okay, in this unit, we're going to learn how to classify 3D figures. And believe it or not, it's pretty intuitive with probably a couple of exceptions. So let's look at it. Look at these 5 different shapes below. So first of all, a prism is a solid with 2 bases that are congruent and parallel. And so in this case, I've got a triangle on top, and I've got another triangle at the bottom. And these 2 has to be parallel, and they have to be congruent. And that's called a prism. A pyramid, on the other hand, you only have 1 solid base and a tip, right? And the tip has to be meeting at 1 point. And we call this a triangular pyramid because the base is a triangular. And cylinder is really a prism, but the base is circular. It's a circle on top and the bottom. And cone is an extension of pyramid, except that the base is a circle and it's still on top. Everything converges to a point. And a sphere is a solid in which each point is equidistant from the center, and so the center is here. So any point on this solid is equidistant to this center P here. Okay, so let's see how we can classify them. This at the bottom, this is obviously a pyramid because there's only 1 base, and we call this a rectangular pyramid. And second one is easy, it's just a cone. And the third one, we already said that this is a triangular prism. And the fourth one is hexagonal, and it's a pyramid. So describe the shape of the base and then describe the solid. This one is just a cylinder. And this one is a rectangular prism. And you can probably tell that this is a trapezoid prism because here I have 2 base and the base in the back. They are congruent and parallel. So this is a trapezoidal prism. This probably is really the most challenging. And this one is a square pyramid. And this one is pentagonal. Prism. And this one is a triangular pyramid. And that's the triangular. And this one is very similar to number 7, that it's a prism and it's triangular prism. And the last one is obviously a sphere. Okay? Not too challenging, but and it's again very formula driven. So I'll do some demonstrations of one kind each, and then we can move on from there. So first of all, regular prisms or cubes, and this is the formula to calculate surface area. That's what SA stands for. What does surface area mean? It means that it's every single surface, and there are 6 surfaces in a rectangular prism. I have to calculate everything, and so all the surfaces, then add them up together. So if you think about it, it's pretty intuitive. If for this surface, it's simply length times width. And because there are 2 of them, I have to multiply it by 2. That's where this comes from. And for the same reason, I can do width times height to get the red surface, and then there are two of them multiplied by 2. So that's where that comes from. So it's, and then don't forget that you've got the front surface and the back surface. So you do have to add them up together, okay? So let's look at number 1. Number 1 should be, oops, let me change the color. Surface area is 2 times 7 times 13, then 2 times 13 times 9, plus 2 times 7 times 9. You use your calculator, the answer should come out to be 542 square feet in this case. And it's true for number 2, number 3. It's exactly the same way. It doesn't matter as long as you have a rectangular prism. So again, remember how to classify rectangular prism. Now, here's another concept called lateral surface. Lateral surface is simply the surface without the top and the bottom. So if you hug a prism or if you hug a cube, that's everything that you can hug, but you cannot hug the top, you cannot hug the bottom. So that's what it means by lateral surface. And then if you want to calculate the area surface like we did earlier, you just need to find the lateral surface and then plus the surface area for the top and the bottom. So that's what it means. So let's look at this example on the right, number 4. Obviously I have the height at 16, and the parameter I have 9 plus 12 plus 15, because this is 15 right here. So I should have 27, 36 there. And therefore, if I want to calculate the lateral surface area, I should have 16 times 36, which is 576. But in order to find the surface area, I need to use what I just got plus 2 times the area for the triangle at the top, which is, because this is a right triangle, this is a right triangle here, so it's simply 9 times 12. And that will give me that right triangle and divided by 2. So if I do that, I should have 684 square centimeters. Okay, let's try number 6. I have height at 12. Oops. I'm going to move this up a little so that I can have more room. So I have height at 12. Oh, I'm sorry. Big mistake there. Height is 15. So in this case, you got to figure out, you have to tilt it sideways so that this becomes one of your base, right? Because that's the that's equivalent, that's congruent to the top because of the prism. So then this becomes the height. And then the parameter, if you add it up, the parameter should come out to be 73. So then to calculate the base is simply 18 plus 23, top base plus bottom base times the height of the trapezoid divided by 2. I should have 246. And so your surface area is simply 15 times 73 plus 2 times 246. And you should come out to be 1587 square feet. So now let's look at how we calculate surface areas for cylinders as well as lateral areas. Lateral areas is right here, the formula 2 pi RH. If you recall, 2 pi r gives you the parameter. and it's really the perimeter of the base multiplied by the height. That gives you the lateral area. And in class, we're going to demonstrate why that is the case. And over here, surface area, you simply add 2 pi r squared to it. In other words, you're adding the surface area of this circle at the bottom and the surface area on top to the lateral area, and that's how you get the entire surface area. Okay, so let's look at number 9. It's fairly straightforward. I've got my r as 11 yards, and I've got my height at 26. So I need to find the lateral area first, which is 2 pi r. 2 pi r is 11 times 26. And once I find out my lateral area, that should be 242 pi. I need to add that. So it's lateral area plus pi r squared times 2. So I would have that in there. And, oh, I'm sorry, this is 572. So now if I add 572 pi plus 242 pi. You can use your calculator, you can keep the pi, or you can plug in the pi to come up with a decimal point. That's perfectly fine. Okay, so that's it. I'm rushing a little bit because the bell has run, but you got the concept here. If not, make sure that you come to class and ask your questions. Thanks, guys.